house, no buildings, no people, no cars. People who live here don't get to access and see it as well. It starts under the clouds on the right, and it's going to run all the way down to the shoreline over the ridge in front of us here. It's called Olokele Canyon, and it's just a spectacular area with no access. So let's go take a look. Again, you can see all the trees that were broken by the hurricane, which is why they're gray and white. It strips all the bark off and the branches, and therefore the tree can't photosynthesize, so it dies. When it has the bark, it can still draw enough energy to create leaves, and then be okay. But when it strips the bark off and the leaves, then it's pretty much done. Look at this. This is Olokele Canyon. When you get out here, you might wonder, what types of animals are there here? When the first Polynesians came here from the Marquesas Islands near Tahiti, there was only two mammals, monk seals and hoary bats. So they brought with them dogs, pigs, and chickens. Have you guys seen any chickens while you're on Kauai? They're all over the place, right? Well, here's the cool thing. If you can catch one, we'll give you 12 for every one you catch free. You know why we have so many chickens though, really? We only have one KFC. Now everywhere you live in the world, there's some historical event that was key to the area where you live. And so usually you'll have some kind of a park with a marker or something like that. Well, one of the most significant events to happen in Hawaii's history happened right on the left here. You see where the river goes out into the ocean down there? That's where Captain Cook landed in 1778, making the western discovery of the islands here. Captain Cook was trying to find a passage above Canada. He left England, went around India, Australia, passing New Zealand, was heading to Canada, and he saw two islands on the horizon. The taller one on the left was the island of Kauai. He decided to go there, so he turned from Oahu and took landfall here on Kauai. As a result of that, this is where he gets credit for discovering the islands. You might see a statue, a kind of a memory that this is where he landed back there. You'll hear all kinds of stories. Captain Cook did lose his life here. They got into a conflict. But in the end, the British and the Hawaiians actually were friends. And you may have noticed that the Hawaii state flag has the Union Jack on it. And that represents the initial friendship with the outside world, established contact with the English. And that's why it's on the Hawaii state flag. It has nothing to do with any kind of rule. It's just simply, hey, we were friends with you guys. So the implication, of course, is we are still friends with the Brits. But as you could imagine, when the Hawaiians actually slaughtered Captain Cook on the beach, on the rocks at Kealakekua Bay, that could have had negative implications for the rest of Hawaii's history with England. But it turned out to be all right. Look at this. This is called Waialae. You can see, Brenda, there's a little pool at the base of the waterfall on the right. If you guys want, I can drop you off there, come back in like an hour, pick you up, swim a little. Sometimes you can see goats in the grass there. If you look around, you might spot some brown or black ones. Sometimes they're over the ridge, down the slope here. But again, any trails you see here will be made by goats and wild deer, black-tailed deer. Not humans. This canyon is called Kauai. Looks the most like the Grand Canyon in Arizona to me. A little bit more greenery, of course. You ever been to the Grand Canyon, Emily?
No.
Not yet? That's pretty cool. 85% of the people who come to Kauai will go up on that ridge there, look out and say, wow, it looks just like the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Now you can do us a favor. When you go to the Grand Canyon, you can stand on the south rim and say, hey, it looks like the Waimea Canyon on Kauai. Do us a solid. This is the canyon called Po'omau, the third canyon back here. Isn't that beautiful? Now you know when you make nails, they rust, right? Well, that rust is in the metal itself, which is in the soil. That's what the red is here. It's called iron oxide, is the technical term for it, but it's basically the soil rusting. Now the metal in the soil doesn't form in molecular mass that we have iron ore. It's small particulates, and that's why it doesn't really, we don't think of Hawaii as having metal, but we get the rusty red color. Look on the right here, on your side here, Michael. Clara, you can see the 800-foot tall waterfall. See if you can see any people in the middle of the waterfall at the top, or on just the immediate left. You see the people there in the bushes? Or up on the ridge, you can see them sitting there in the slopey part. They're very small though. You can see the people now just coming out to the left of the waterfall at the top and up in the bushes there. Look in front of us how dry and arid this side is. We only get 30 inches of rainfall a year. That's less than 3 feet. Just 15 miles away over on the left though, we get 37 feet of rain a year. A 34-foot disparity. Now you can see, Michael, the cars are pulled right up to the edge there. They want to see the waterfall, and that's actually the best spot to see the waterfall from the ground. When you do the hike, you actually can't see the waterfall. It goes over the cliff so severe you can't see it. I'm going to put a song on here, Clara. See if you know this. If you're flying in Hawaii, it's cool to have on, though. You probably will know it, though. You know that one? No? This called Brother Is. His name is Israel Kamakaiva Ole. He's really famous, but everybody calls him IZ. Brother Is. Brother, of course, is brother in Pidgin English. You ever heard of Pidgin? In Hawaii, you have Hawaiian language, and you have English language from the sugar cane plantation people. But then they needed workers, so they brought people from the outside world, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Filipinos, and Portuguese. Typically speaking, these were not the educated class. It was people who were having a hard time in life, looking for an opportunity to make some money and live somewhere else in the world. When they came, they didn't all speak the same language. So they started mixing the language together, and it's called Pidgin in Hawaii. Maybe you've heard of Creole English or Cajun English, some different kinds of English. Well, here in Hawaii, it's called Pidgin. And if you don't understand that it's a separate language, it sounds like terrible English. But it's not English. It uses English words primarily, but other languages as well. So an example would be, Bye we go surf. Bye we go surf is kind of a Filipino word meaning later, and we go surf, you understand, and it means later we go surfing. Bye we go surf. So one of the things they'll do is mix, say, Hawaiian